So, oh my God, my colleagues and I on NFL Network, we always make fun of Kurt when he's critical of Tom Brady and he's critical of Aaron Rodgers and he's critical of this guy. And I thought, honestly, we have said in many, many years of talking about this movie potentially being made, we're like, we feel sorry for the actor who's going to play Kurt. We feel sorry for that guy. Because this guy is going to be broken down and analyzed. So what was it like, Zachary, to play Kurt Warner in this film?
Yeah, anytime you're trying to take on doing some biopic where you're playing a real person, it's made exponentially more, not necessarily difficult, but the pressures that either others put on you or you put on yourself to live up to somehow very realistically portraying a person that's very much still alive and still on television and famous and that everyone can compare you to. That alone is that keeps you on your toes. But I will say that, Kurt, I think that Kurt feels a bit more capable of giving some critique to guys in a field that he is a Hall of Fame professional in. He has a little more liberty to do that. I feel like knowing that I was now having to do this acting part of it, he gave me a lot of grace. I mean, there were definitely days where we were, throwing the ball around, and he was like, "You really going to throw it that way?" But I still got some great advice from him. He walked me through a lot of stuff. I had this great quarterback coach named Clint Dolezal who played college arena and got into the NFL as well as Kurt. He didn't have the same, illustrious career as Kurt, but I got like a 2-month crash course quarterback camp, and I gave every ounce to it. It was really cool, honestly. I mean, not just, learning how to throw a dime, which I do. I can throw a dime here and there.
Okay.
I can throw a good ball now. But beyond that, just getting into the head of a quarterback, just really understanding what is their process, what are they doing, how are you calling your plays in the huddle, and bringing your team to life under center and guiding them and leading them and reading your coverage and trying not to telegraph to the coverage which receiver you're going to. All of those things were fascinating to me and a really cool, just skill to learn. And I think at the end of the day, to the extent that I could, I made him proud. I made Kurt proud, and that's all I could hope for.
That is the best, Zachary. And I got to tell you, I'm laughing so hard because everybody at NFL Network and Game Day Morning, if they're not watching right now and they see this, they're going to be laughing so hard. And certainly me in particular, having just laughed at that, because nothing cuts deeper when than Kurt turning to me and his response to anything that I've done, either planning on to do or I just did, and his answer is, "Really? Really? That's how you're going to do it?" So
yeah, you can be a cold customer, bro.
I mean, so you saying like that's the way he said it. I totally hear him right now. Really? Like he will say that all the time. And obviously, this is such
he's trying to be nice. That's the funny thing about it. He's like one of the nicest guys in the world. And so he's actually trying to be nice when he gives you this criticism. But you can see right through it because you can tell that the perfectionism in him, like the hard worker in him, doesn't know how to communicate other than, really, that's what you're going to do with that? And you're like, okay, yeah, well, just break it down. Let's break it down, Kurt.
And then we get on like on a football field, and I throw a football to him or attempt to catch it on live TV, which is what makes my wife cringe more than anything else. And then when he says anything to do with a physical attribute, when he says that, it can be withering. It really can, despite him being one of the warmest, sweetest people.
Today he acknowledged that on the football field he's not a great athlete. So you know what? You can hold him to that.
Okay, I'll take that. Zachary Levi, who plays Kurt Warner in American Underdog here on the Rich Eisen Show. And again, it's a beautiful story about him and Brendo, who's one of my favorite people on the planet as well. So dive into the love story aspect of this a little bit, Kurt.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, I mean, the movie is really, it's 25, I'd like to say it's like 25% football, 75% real life, just family and some romance, obviously, between him and Brenda, but also the struggles, the ups and downs, the whole journey of how Kurt and Brenda and her kids, Zach and Jesse, and really the very special relationship that Kurt and Zach even start forging, and how that galvanizes the whole family unit, and how that in turn, and his time away from, after college and not making it with the Packers, and him kind of like wandering around in the wilderness, and then realize, stocking shelves at a grocery store and scraping change out of car doors to put gas in the tank. Like, that is the journey that the movie takes you on. And it's amazing. I mean, those are a lot of the things that I didn't know. We all knew the bullet points. We all knew this guy who came out of obscurity as a much older rookie than you would imagine, and finally getting snapped in the NFL for the first time and takes the team all the way to the Super Bowl and wins, and the MVPs and all that jazz. And, we also kind of knew that stocking shelves at a grocery store bit, but it doesn't go into a lot of detail. We didn't really know all of the depth of all of that stuff, and that's what makes it rich. That's what makes it, I think, also kind of ultimately very relatable. I think everyone can relate to that job, whether it was a supermarket or something else, where you were doing what you had to do until you could do what you wanted to do or what you felt like you were called to do. And that's what the movie's about. And of course, with the backdrop of the NFL, which is so awesome, and all of the magical things that went on there, and in arena. The arena game was incredible. I mean, it really is fascinating when you break it down.
Right.
Just, how they constructed it and how the gameplay went and how different that was from the NFL. And I don't know, it was all really fun to play. Yeah,
the photograph that we've been showing, and actually that Kurt's been having, he showed this to me months ago, obviously, when you were shooting. You're in the Arena League uniform standing next to him.
Yeah, the Barnstorm itself. Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool.
And how he comes from the Northern Iowa University, as we always keep on, busting his stones. And it is just an amazing story. It really is truly one of the best sports stories ever. There's no two ways about it. And so are you a fan of a specific team at all, or when you were watching it, or any years ago, seeing it all play out in 1999, Zachary?
I say this in all earnestness, it is the Rams. I'm a Southern California kid. I grew up rooting for the Dodgers, the Lakers, the Rams. It was obviously, when I was a younger kid and the Rams decided to migrate to St. Louis, that was a bummer. They're still the Rams, and I still get to be one of their most famous quarterbacks, which is so cool. That now they're even back in L.A., back into my home, town, if you will, and playing a hell of a season. And the Super Bowl is going to be in L.A. this year, and I'm really rooting for those guys. I think that Stafford, amongst many other pickups, could really, put us over the edge, and we could maybe win. I don't know. There's so much other talent out there right now. I mean, Brady could repeat. I mean, Mac and the Patriots, Belichick might have his hold my beer moment right now. Like, who knows what's going to happen?
Exactly.
But, it's been I got to pull for my Rams.
Yeah, wow. So you followed the Rams to St. Louis. So you were a fan watching this scene unfold, and now you're playing Kurt Warner in the film version of it. That's kind of crazy, Zachary.
It's trippy, man. It's really trippy.
Wow. Okay, so let's get right down to it, stuff that I could use against Kurt. Was he like a helicopter guy around the set, like staring at you or anything like that?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, maybe a little more so with the football stuff. But, no, I mean, at the end of the day, look, we had great sports producers. We had these guys who basically make almost all the best sports movies. They know how to bring together all of the actual athletes, all of the equipment, all of the plays, all of the everything. So I think Kurt felt, very comfortable that was a lot of that stuff was taken care of. And truthfully, with the rest of the story, like I was saying, like the meat of the story, the depth and the family and all that jazz, Kurt and Brenda were there over half the time we were making the film. And of course, they might have a question or a thought here and there, but by and large, they were so supportive. They believed in us, me and Anna, and we had this incredible resource to go to them at a moment's notice and say, hey, in this moment, how were you feeling, or what were you thinking, So I did not feel like I was being helicopter parented by Kurt.
Okay. All right, I'll take that. And again, like I said, Brenda's just awesome. And I've known him for years, and all of us at NFL Network, we're excited about this film coming out on Christmas Day. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.